What's up, guys? Peter from Panda here. Hey, just unboxing a watch I just received. Actually, this one is from Spinnaker. You know, like your sailboat sail. Little warranty card here. So we've got that. An instruction manual. So you got that, and you got the Spinnaker out there. When I see this, I always think of that hotel, where is it, in Dubai? You know, the one that's shaped like a sail. And when I hear the word Spinnaker, I always think of that scene in Shallow Hal, where he's looking at those old lady trow, and he's like, what, you ripped the Spinnaker on your sailboat? Anyway, Spinnaker is kind of a cool little company. You may have not have heard of them, but obviously a heavily nautical themed company. This is how I got the watch here. It's wrapped in plastic, and I've got to get this bad boy off. I actually, you know, did they start on Kickstarter? I kind of tried to find that out. I went to the website. They actually have a number of different watches. So diver style watches. Everything is obviously kind of aquatic themed, and I wanted to check this one out because this is a new one. I think maybe their newest one, called the Mailsail Chronograph. This is actually model SP-5043-02. There's an 01, I think, and the dial on that one is actually wood, or wood simulant. I'm gonna try to adjust my light here to help you out. And there's this one that's blue, and it has kind of this blue wave background, so it's really an attractive watch. Apologize for the glare, but I'm going to try to illuminate this bad boy as much as humanly possible. And as you can see here, you know, oh, got more plastic on this side. We've got like a blue leather band. I like that they put these little tabs here, so I know where at least the end of the plastic is. You know, blue leather band. It says Spinnaker there. It's kind of finished on the underside in this off-white, this eggshell, and then you have, you know, this fairly smooth leather blue band, a couple of retention screws there. It's almost kind of a little bit of like an unfinished, like a full green leather, but not maybe quite. A little white stitching there. I kind of dig that. It's New England-y to me to have kind of white on blue, and then square cutouts there, and you can see there the band. You know, it's a pretty thick band, and I believe it is 22 millimeters wide, and then some contrast stitching there. So pretty nice band. Pretty thick though, like I said. Let's just go ahead and throw it on here and get that out of the way, because I'm curious as to how the band feels. And now it's actually much more supple and soft than I thought it would be, but I can tell you, you know, anytime you get a band this thick, it's going to be a little stiff, especially until you break them in. And that's why, you know, when I put my watches in the watch box, I kind of tighten them around the pillow relatively tight to kind of give a little shape to that watch band. But let's go ahead and throw this bad boy on. Now let's give some stats here on this nice looking blue watch. I really dig blue. It's a 46 millimeter case, which actually kind of surprises me because it kind of feels like a 44 millimeter. Now, the reason it might feel like a 44 millimeter to me is there's really kind of two tiers to the case here. You've got this 3/16L stainless steel case, you know, brushed on the sides here. There's a little bit of polish on the bezel, and then you have kind of this second level of a dial here that's smaller, and it kind of brings it in and makes maybe the watch look and wear and feel a little smaller than it really is, because 46 you would think is pretty big. Everyone complains about how big it is to me. They're like, why would you ever wear something so gaudy? Well, I can wear whatever I want. I am the Panda. I am a celebrity in my own household. Not really. I'm actually kind of on the low end of the totem pole here. But it doesn't feel like that, and I really don't think it looks like that, to be honest. But then you have this cable, and it's kind of this blue cable, and I think that helps kind of create a little bit of an effect, a shrinking effect on the case, right? So the cable around the bezel here is maybe not entirely new. I've seen it on Invictas before. I've never actually checked one out in person, and so this is my first time, and it's nice. I actually like it. It kind of, even though it's like a metal cable, it kind of gives me, and multi-strand cable nonetheless, it kind of gives me a look, I think, of like a rope. And, you know, when I think of nautical themed things, I do think of the ropes that you tie up with, and that's what it kind of looks like. I mean, but it's metal, and you can see the nice texture in there, and it adds a little bit of design and detail around the bezel that I really like, and around the case, and helps, I think, shrink this. Because if you were to look at this, the face here, and then just have a big shiny bezel around the outside here, it would look a little weird, kind of like a hublot or something like that. Now, the wire isn't suspended above the case at all. In fact, it's like 2/3 of the way kind of embedded into it, and it looks like it's held down by kind of these lugs that go over the top. So I actually think, the wire's placed in place, and then the top is probably like the top of the case is kind of loaded from the top down to hold it in place. And then it looks like there are some screws here, which may be caps for real screws that go under it. They may be the real screws. They're very similar to the my other watch, the oh my gosh, what's the name of that watch? But if I think of it, I'll tell you. So kind of these wide but very shallow screws. All right, so that's cool, and they're raised a little bit, kind of like the older style tabs on the Breitlings, right? And they would then thereby, because they hover above the crystal, provide some crystal protection, which is good because there's a little bit of a curved crystal there. You can see it, but I believe they're hardened mineral crystal. I don't know that the sound will tell us anything, but it's not sapphire, and so to have a little bit of extra protection, especially when this goes face down on something, is pretty nice, because you can kind of polish these up a little bit more. And I'm trying to give you some really close-ups here. The other thing that is interesting to me right off the bat is it looks like there are spring bars underneath that watch band, but you can see here it looks like there are screws in the lugs, and so these might be just design elements, because it looks like maybe you could just kind of pop this out. Yeah, and in fact, if you kind of really audit where they are, they don't really meet up with those screws, so certainly a design element to me, which is cool. I actually like the idea that, or like the look of kind of the more robust, hardy, screw through band bars there, but just regular spring bars as far as I can tell. Again, brushed sides here, vertically brushed along the case, and then you have the Spinnaker logo. It looks like it's laser etched into the crown there, and flat crown polished on the top, knurling or coin edge here, and there's a little bit of a cut right around there to give it even a little more design, and then polished pushers here with just a little bit of rounding to the top. So really comfortable push, these pushers, nice and comfy. And then on this side, just the brushed stainless steel. Now I've noticed on other Spinnaker models, sometimes they have etched Spinnaker in here, sometimes they have a little plate. I really do like that. I like when you use this side of the case, but I think this looks very nice. I'd almost like maybe a little more Spinnaker. It's kind of very modern like font. Looks like Moonraker or the Aliens title font or something like that. So kind of cool. The lugs curve pretty nicely here. I think it looks pretty nice. And then on the back, you have, looks like a screw in back here, polished, all stainless steel, 100-meter water resistant, SP-5043, which I think is the model I mentioned. Yeah. And then specifically the 02. And then it says a Swiss movement. Now, I'm not entirely sure what movement it is. It's a quartz chronograph movement. I'm assuming it's a Ronda movement. I think they advertise on the website, a Swiss Parts movement. So I'm kind of assuming that. Looks like, again, etched in Spinnaker logo here in the wave pattern there, which is really common on Omega dials. And then let's take a look here at the front of the watch and kind of get into it a little bit here. I'm sorry about the glare again, but you have your outer ring here, which have indexes at the minutes, and every 5 minutes is marked, and they're kind of marked in orange, which is pretty cool, because there's a lot of color here. Now, it's not as bright to me as this orange, but it kind of ties them together a little bit. You've got the chronograph hand here in orange, and that outer chapter ring is elevated. It might be a little hard to see there, but it's elevated, and then looks like it's actually a part of the inner chapter ring here with, you know, your hour markings, which look like, and I believe have superluminova. So not only superluminova on the hour markers here, but then also superluminova on the hands itself, which are pretty wide. There's a lot of depth to this watch, and I love depth on watch dials. I've made no secrets about that. You can see you've got a little ramp here with the silver Spinnaker logo on it. You have that depth on the outer chapter ring, and then a step down to this inner chapter ring with even more graduations, right? It's even every second is marked on this kind of inner ring there. And then you have the dial itself, which tends to have kind of this tubular kind of farm row like pattern. So it's actually kind of these wavy columns, and that's just another really subtle, you know, nice touch. I really like that. You know, presumably stamped, because you can see where it's flat there. It's a Spinnaker, and then 100 meters, 330 feet water resistance. You have two subdials here surrounded by what is a silver, you know, more of a kind of a brushed, a flat, a matte silver finish. That looks like they're all pressed into the dial, I think. I don't think that, you know, it's hard to tell. There's a little bit of curvature to the crystal, so it kind of gives a little bit of distortion. But no, actually, you know what? They are applied. Those subdial rings are applied, and then you have the two subdials. So there you have your seconds hand, and a little bit of texturing on the subdials there too. Might be a little hard to see, but you have kind of a ring pattern on those subdials. So seconds hand right here in that subdial, and then this is your chronograph, presumably, right? So what you can do here is start it with the top pusher. It's ticking around. It actually is sliding quite a bit more smoothly than maybe I expected. And that's how you would use the chrono. And then the reset would be here. And looks like it's not quite lining up. Oh, and there's a pip there that says superluminova. But typically on these quartz watches, if you go to your manual, you can find the instructions depending on the movement on how to get that aligned up a little more, so you can kind of usually adjust that for people who find it really, really annoying. So that's kind of forgivable to me. So if I go ahead and start the chronograph again, and it looks like this subdial reset as well. So I think this is counting. If I stop it there, it'd be counting off additional minutes. So you've got a 30-minute counter here, and then this counting the seconds. And then if I reset it there, goes all the way around the long way, so definitely not a flyback by any means, but that's how it works. And then, like I said, more of those kind of broad, almost aviator style sword hands right there. It looks like brushed silver as well. And so, you know, a nice looking watch. Date window there. Not only is it inset with a white background, but it's bordered and framed out with a little bit of like a silver finish there. So let's see here. Looks like maybe a screw down crown. Looks like it is. Pull it out. Okay, the first stop is date, and then the second stop is time. So there, let's get that Spinnaker logo nicely and framed out. So back in and screw it down. Screw it in. It just takes a couple of twists. So really nice watch, man. I definitely like the look of it. I've never had a watch with the cable bordering it. This Mainsail chronograph is pretty nice. It's a couple $100 from Spinnaker, so I think it's actually really a good deal at this price point. 14 millimeters thick, so it's not the thinnest watch. It definitely has some heft, but I like that. I like watches that have presence, gravitas, and weight, and I like being able to feel them on the wrist. Now I've noticed that on their website, the Mainsail chronographs are listed as being available for 2 weeks. I don't know if that's you know, a blowout of inventory or something like that, but for whatever reason they're listed that way. So I would encourage you, if you are interested in getting one of these, get them right away. Like I said, it's a good deal. If you like a little more of a wood background, that the 01 version I think is the one for you. I like this watch. I really want to put this on my wrist, put it in my watch box. I think it would fit kind of those days that I'm feeling very nautical, very New Englandy. I'm trying to make a call right here on the channel live with you, but despite the fact that I like this so much, I promised I was going to give more stuff away. I want to give away some really nice stuff, and I think this qualifies. Spinnaker right there on the kind of the very cool, very modern buckle as well. And I'm gonna give it away. So you pan dudes out there, I love you guys. I want you to have this watch. I want to keep it. Just take me up on it now, because it's getting harder as I'm thinking about it. I'm almost about to edit this out. But hey, let's give this sucker away. I'm going to give it away on Saturday, March 18th, 2017. So all you have to do to get eligible for this giveaway is like this video, subscribe to my channel, and comment below. Any comment will do. Just in the comment, put the country that you live in somewhere in the comments, so that when I check and pick the one random commenter to win it, I can verify that you live in the United States or Canada, which are the only countries that it's going to be open to at the moment, because that's where I can afford to ship this watch to. So one of you is going to get what I think is a very nice, a very stylish, and a very high quality watch. This is a much nicer watch than some of those cheap watches that I give away. And like I said, this one in particular, I'm kind of torn. I don't have any other Spinnakers I like this, but I like you guys more. Like, subscribe, and comment below, and good luck on this. Spinnaker Mainsail Chronograph, Peter Von Panda, out.